Just wait for everybody to pull up in this thing. In this bitch lid. Man, I gotta sneeze. We live in this thing. We live in this bitch. Make sure my hair looking fabulous. Like the Fabulous Dramatics. We live up in this thing. Y'all ready to get this thing started? We live up in this thing. Oh, damn. Heard all in my ears and shit. MAGA Mike up in this bitch, okay? Alright, let's keep it lit. We got something old and something new. My name is MAGA Mike. I own this here. Y'all might know me. Today, we're going to talk about nothing but America. Alright. So, welcome aboard. Let's get started. We got to talk about, we talking about Venezuela. U.S. going to war with Venezuela. We talking about the government shutdown. We talking about Charlie Kirk costumes and the good and the bad and the ugly of Charlie Kirk costumes. You getting it first from MAGA Mike in the building. Alright, so make sure y'all always stay tuned in. Okay, I'm losing my mind here. I got my cold brewski. Now let's get this show fired up. Shout out to MAGA Mike. We up in this thing. We up in this thing. Damn, where do we get started?
This is a response to the MAGA supporters who are in my previous video talking about the fact that this is a Democrat shutdown. It's not a Republican shutdown. First, you're just wrong. It's a Republican shutdown because you own the House, the Senate, the
hit that like button because we own the House and the Senate and the
presidency, and you own the Supreme Court as well. You own all areas of the government. So it's your responsibility. It's the Republican responsibility. Mike Johnson just shut everything down and sent everybody away because he doesn't want to swear in the final representative who was elected, who will open up the vote for the Epstein files to be released.
Mike Big Johnson is not opening up the government for nothing. Not Schumer, not that Jeffries character, not AOC, not unless they want to come up and sign this big, beautiful, clean deal.
That's issue number one. Issue number two is that I do believe that Trump is excited to leave all of the
Donald Trump
SNAP benefits on the bench and not put them out for people who are in need. That would be 42 million people who are in need of SNAP benefits, because he's dying for people to rise up and go start fighting.
Donald Trump he helped 600,000 people get off of SNAP benefits this year.
For anything and everything, but especially making people desperate because they're trying to feed their families. And if they get desperate, they'll do desperate things. And he can't wait to start martial law so that he can then say, we're not having this.
Tomorrow, everybody with snaps is going to the grocery stores to loot. That's what them Democrats and them liberals and them far lefts and them Marxists and those Antifa, they like to steal. Like they stole the government.
2026 elections, because that's what he really doesn't want to have happen. The real issue that the Democrats are fighting for, and you can find this in the New York Times today, is the expiration of the subsidies for the health care benefits for...
The New York Times is liberal.
or the ACA or Obamacare. For those of you who don't know, the ACA is Obamacare. It's the same thing. So for those of you who don't understand,
I don't want no Obamacare. I take ACA or Obamacare any day.
That healthcare.gov is Obamacare. They are the same thing. I know that's hard for you to understand. It's been a decade now, and y'all are still having trouble understanding that. But it's the same thing, okay? The New York Times is reporting that 30% will be the average increase of everybody who has healthcare programs through the ACA or Obamacare. 30% is the average. I have friends whose insurance, they've already gotten their letter from them, and it says they're going to go up from $750 a month to $4,000 a month.
I ain't no mathematician, but that's more than 30%. If we go from 700 to 4,000, see, that's why these liberals, they can't get their math straight. They just be lying to you. That's why you gotta watch them closely, cause they'll sneak up on you, and they'll steal your votes. They'll go to the polls with the illegals and the dead people who are voting in California, in Portland, in Toronto, and all those states.
$48,000 a year will be their health insurance for two people. Two people. Who do you know that can pay $48,000 a year for their health insurance?
I don't know about y'all, but this liberal woman is boring as hell. Let's get to another one.
Republicans don't plan to give up power in 2026 or 2028. Steve Bannon said the quiet part out loud. MAGA revealed their supervillain plot by telling the world that Trump isn't leaving. Our democratic norms are actively being dismantled at an alarming rate. The 22nd Amendment limits a president to 2 terms. Bannon dismissed the amendment and said there are many different alternatives and legal workarounds to ensure Trump
2028, America, baby.
Trump remains in office in 2028. The intellectual core of this movement links white nationalism to authoritarianism. Bannon has cited right-wing authoritarian leader Viktor Orban of Hungary as a model for his current plan. The Orban model includes single-party rule and control over the judiciary and media. It also includes capture of the culture and public education and widespread xenophobia and anti-immigrant sentiment. Meanwhile, our biggest corporations are in bed with these white nationalists. They're completely complicit. America, we're heading down a dangerous path. What is the world prepared?
You know what I don't like about this guy? I don't like his rhetoric or his haircut. Look at this. You gotta have one of these. Well, beautiful, beautiful American long hair. I don't know what this Nazi haircut is and his dangerous rhetoric talking about saving democracy. The Democrat Schumer shutdown is not saving democracy. Neither is that haircut.
Prepared to do to save democracy.
All they have to do is say, the government is...
Trump, baby. Trump 2028. We finally got him, baby. Y'all vote 2028.
open, and that's the end of it. And, you know, law...
Republicans.
All they have to do is say, the government is open, and that's the end of it. And, you know, largely, when you talk about SNAP, you're talking about largely Democrats. But I'm president. I want to help everybody. I want to help Democrats and Republicans. But when you're talking about SNAP, if you look, it's largely Democrats. They're hurting their own people. All they have to do is say...
It's largely Democrats. You hear that? See, because listen, I don't know if y'all know this, but 50% of welfare recipients are poor people. Poor white people. 25% is poor blacks. And all of them are Democrats. That is not true. That is not true. All those red areas of land that voted for Trump are poor people. All of it. 90% of America is poor. Okay? It don't make sense. But MAGA Mike gonna make it make sense.
The government is open, and that's the end of it. And, you know, largely, when you talk about SNAP, you're talking about largely Democrats. But I'm president. I want to help everybody. I want to help Democrats and Republicans. But
You see how he had to let us know that he was president as if we forgot? We didn't forget Donald Trump is our president. But he had to let us know again. Okay, sometimes I don't understand what he be saying, but I understand what he be saying. You know what I'm saying?
Millions of Americans, as of tomorrow, will no longer receive SNAP and potentially WIC or even a paycheck. Democrats have instigated a disgusting dereliction of duty unlike anything I have seen in all my...
I don't know what the hell dereliction is, but she better not use that with us MAGA folks. She too uppity. We don't like that. We don't like that. I'm gonna have to drop a dime on her, get her up out of here. You gotta use more words like, you know, stupendous or something. Derelict. We don't know what that is. It's a word salad. We don't eat word salad here in the South. Nope.
Paycheck. Democrats have instigated a disgusting dereliction of duty unlike anything I have seen in all my years doing this work, all to favor illegal aliens and other radical far-left policies that benefit only a small, tiny sliver of their base. I am embarrassed for Chuck Schumer.
I thought it was all Democrats. See, our president said it's going to hurt all the Democrats. She just said it's only a small sliver. So which one is it? Is it everybody or it's just a small sliver? Somebody lied. And we're going to get to the bottom of it.
He is going out of his way to please the likes of Zohran Mamdani, a man who is polarizing America with his socialist rhetoric and anti-American principles. The very essence of government responsibility is to the citizens who live and work here to protect their interests first, unless you are a Democrat in the United States Senate. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are doing all this because they fear the socialists and the radicals to their left. Ironically, in leaving American families hungry and American children without food, they are giving a preview of what those socialists will do to every one of us if they ever take power.
The Democrats are evil. America, baby.
But I want to begin first with just a word of sincere gratitude. Across this country, we've got millions of federal workers who have been showing up at the office every day without pay. This has drug on for a month now. Those federal workers have shown up for a month straight, not knowing when or if their next paycheck will be delivered.
I like how Mike Johnson act like he ain't got shit to do with the government shutdown. Like, fool, you are part of the problem. But he don't get it, though. You'll hear it first from MAGA Mike.
They're doing their jobs, and they're doing it valiantly, while the Senate Democrats simply refuse to do their job. Their most simple and basic responsibility is to keep the government in operation so that we can keep the services flowing to the American people and keep the country moving. But they're not doing that. So we just want to say to these federal workers, like the hundreds of civilian employees who are also spread throughout the country, like the ones in my district, for example, at the Bain Jones Army Community Hospital down at Fort Polk, or a big Army base there. We just want to say thank you for your diligence, for doing your job, for your service to the country.
Thank you, BG Floyd, for the $2. We appreciate it. America, baby. Shout out to MAGA Mike. Y'all doing this for MAGA Mike. I gotta go buy me another 6-pack of Michelob after this. Now let's get back to Mike Big Johnson. What the fuck? Oh, free health care for illegals. The Schumer shutdown. It's on and popping, big dog. It's on and popping. What I do?
Even though Democrats are withholding your paycheck, they are shameless in doing so. But I want to begin first with just a a word of sincere.
This is some pretty breaking news coming out of the Caribbean Sea right now. Apparently, the Miami Herald published a major article on the 31st of October 2025 claiming that the Trump administration has finalized plans to launch airstrikes on military installations inside of Venezuela with potential attacks occurring at any moment.
America, baby!
According to anonymous sources with direct knowledge of the planning, these precision strikes would target facilities that are allegedly being used by the Cartel of the Suns, known as Cartel de los Sols, which is a drug trafficking network that the U.S. has classified as a designated terrorist organization, and the U.S. is accusing them and President Nicolas Maduro and top regime officials of leading this. Now, this particular organization is alleged to have been exporting somewhere around 500 tons of Colombian Bam Bam to the U.S. and Europe annually. Now, this is going to be a pretty significant escalation if this is true, based on what the Miami Herald and numerous other sources have said. Apparently, the operation involves a massive U.S. naval deployment in the southern Caribbean, featuring the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford, destroyers, a submarine, F-35 Bravo jets, MQ-9 Reaper drones, and roughly 4,500 troops. Now, so far, U.S. forces have just conducted drone and missile strikes on fast boats in the international waters off of Venezuela's coast, but there's been no direct attacks on Venezuelan military installations yet. The sources apparently told the Herald that the upcoming final phase could involve Tomahawk missiles, special operations raids, and efforts to, quote, decapitate the cartel's leadership, potentially including high-profile figures like Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, National Assembly President Jorge Rodriguez, and Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello. One of the sources apparently also warned that Maduro could soon be, quote, trapped with internal military dissent possibly leading to his capture or handover by disloyal generals. This is going to be pretty massive if it turns out to be true, and if it is, I will certainly keep you guys updated.
It sounds like election interference. America is dipping in other people's business again. Well, sounds like somebody about to FAFO. And it starts with a MADURO. Maduro. About to fuck around and find out. Playing with MAGA Mike. I'll drop all type of Tomahawks and Falcons and F-16s up his ass. Okay? Sounds like shit getting real down there south of the border.
Venezuela is asking Russia for help when it comes to its situation with the United States. That is what the Washington Post just reported on after they got their hands on some kind of documents. Let's go ahead and break it down. In their report, they state here that Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, had written a letter to Vladimir Putin requesting repairs for radars, aircraft, and possible missile supplies. And this comes at a time in which we just saw an aircraft that went from Moscow to Africa to Venezuela, which has people going and saying, what was just delivered or what's going on here? The report goes deeper by saying that Maduro also reached out to Iran and China for extra support, including asking the president of China for an expanded military cooperation to counter what he calls U.S. escalation. What's interesting, in the letter, he also brags that he already has 5,000 Russian-made air defense systems. But obviously, he's concerned about the United States since he did write this letter. So the question for now, is this just posturing, or could this spiral into a new regional confrontation backed by Moscow and Beijing? That's the question. I don't really think so. I think it's too far for them to get involved. But I'll be sure to keep you updated, so please do share my videos and follow me for more.
Russia and China is dipping into everybody else's business, just like America. When the bullies start to beat down on small countries, then they call in their backup. They call in the big brother. Okay, every time Ukraine get us some shit, they call who? America. Okay, every time Venezuela getting some shit, who you think they gonna call? Not the damn Ghostbusters. So we gotta tread lightly, okay? Because we don't want to start nothing big. We just need to. If Maduro need to get out of office, he need to leave peacefully, but he won't. He's gonna fight. America, baby.
And breaking tonight, more troubling news in our own hemisphere. 2 Russian jets touching down in Venezuela this weekend, reportedly carrying dozens of Russian troops, along with a Russian defense official. National Security Advisor John Bolton tonight slamming Russia in a tweet saying, quote, "The United States sends food and medicine to help the people of Venezuela rather than sending nuclear-capable bombers and special forces to prop up a corrupt dictator. Russia should work with the international community to support the Venezuelan people." Here with me now is former U.S. Army Special Forces and Center for Security Policy Executive Vice President Jim Hansen. Good to see you, Jim. So how far do you think Russia is willing to go to protect Maduro?
By sending...
He just said something really stupid. He said there's something going on in our hemisphere. 90% of the world is in our hemisphere. You know what I'm saying? Like, not the world, but I mean 90% of all the countries. So it's just the countries. If all the countries gonna get it some shit, it's in the hemisphere of our hemisphere. Don't none of the southern hemisphere countries be doing no shit. They all broke. South Africa, Argentina, Australia, broke.
These troops, they have made a significant provocation and raised the stakes significantly. I mean, at this point, the U.S. has already recognized Juan Guaido as the rightful leader of Venezuela. So Russia coming in now and going against the will, as was mentioned, of 60 countries that support Guaido is a bad thing. And we should keep in mind, this is not the only place that U.S. and Russian troops could potentially be on the ground together. In Syria, they are.
Right.
And there was a group of 200 Russian mercenaries that decided to try and take a U.S. base out in Syria.
It didn't work out too well.
No, they got returned to their component molecules. So I think Putin should keep that in mind.
Well, again, it's the question is how far we might go in supporting those people who are fighting for freedom in Venezuela. But I'm just wondering, particularly after what happened in Syria, where the Russians saw that we were serious about protecting our interests, whether they're in Syria or Venezuela or any place else. Do you think Russian troops would really be willing to give their lives to support this clown?
Russia is going to protect that oil. If they going to do anything, they going to protect that oil. Now, if you ain't gas up tonight, gas was $2.21 for unleaded, regular unleaded here in Oklahoma. You better get out there and stock up on gas. Okay? Not toilet paper, not canned goods, gas. Because once a war starts in Venezuela, gas in America is going to go sky high.
Maduro?
I think it is a provocation designed to create a response, and I think the question is nobody wants a military confrontation here. And the amount of troops that the Russians sent is not enough to even make a dent. We probably have more people hiding in the jungle there than they brought in on those planes. But the bottom line is there could be a situation where we feel obligated to protect people, you know, like Guaido's chief of staff and other people who are being kidnapped and picked up. There is no way the U.S. can countenance this, having decided that Guaido is the rightful ruler. So I think there's an upcoming confrontation that hopefully won't go to military action.
Well, and the one thing that I find very hopeful is that there are a lot of desertions now, not at the top. I mean, there are only a handful of people at the top who've left the Maduro regime in the military, but I'm told that 1,000 troops have deserted, going to Colombia because they just can't afford to live anymore in Venezuela, and they have the freedom to travel that normal civilians don't have. So if you just have a bunch of overpaid thieving officers in the Maduro regime without troops to govern, what kind of defense does Maduro really have?
Yeah, that's one nice thing about corruptocrats and the thieves that you talked about is...
Y'all hear they rhetoric? They talking big and bold behind them cameras. They ain't finna bust a damn grape. But they act like they out there MAGA miking it up with the big guns, holding the nuts, and walking up to a Venezuelan drug cartel and tell them, bow down to MAGA Mike. They not out there doing that. MAGA Mike served 4 years in Kuwait, 8 years in Iraq, 10 years in Viet Cong. Viet Cong ain't never called me no nigga. Okay?
They're not going to pick up a gun and fight. They're going to go ahead and they're probably exfiltrating all the money and other valuables if they haven't already, and looking for their plan to find a place to sip Mai Tais on the beach. Those guys are not going to fight to the last man. We'll see how many Maduro gathers around him, and I have a feeling he'll be pushed out by an international pressure of some sort.
You see the wink? You see the wink? Let me play that again.
See how many Maduro gathers around him, and I have a feeling he'll be pushed out by an international pressure of some sort.
Now, Jim,
you see the wink? Yes. It's election interference by the chief of the United States of America, baby. It's collusion. It's a hoax. It's lies. They're getting into some shit that we don't need to be in. Over what? Drugs? Fishermen? Which one is it? Speedboats with 5 engines? Trapped on islands, surrounded by water, big water, ocean water.
in the 1980s, we helped rebels in Nicaragua, and they eventually displaced the Sandinistas who were threatening.
In the 1980s, the Nicaraguan war was funded by giving crack to black Americans across the United States. Sold in California, Oakland, Los Angeles, spread across the United States. Started the crack epidemic. We're about to have another crack epidemic. It's going to be fentanyl epidemic. We're going to fund the next war of the next low-budget country. We're going to fund their war by selling their drugs to America. We are our own. We do the hurt to ourselves. And the government did this. Y'all don't know. He just admitted to the collusion, the illegalness, all of the dirty stuff they did to black people, and they locked us up for it. And then that damn sleepy Joe Biden put in the 84 crime bill, the little dirty rat, where black people were locked up for less crack than white people with more cocaine. That's why wasn't no fathers in the homes, because they was locking their ass up for petty crimes, petty drug charges.
Gathers around him, and I have a feeling he'll be pushed out by an international pressure of some sort.
Now, Jim, in the 1980s, we helped rebels in Nicaragua, and they eventually displaced the Sandinistas who were threatening the entire hemisphere. And I know that there were special forces guys in.
There you go, talk about the damn hemisphere again. You know how big the hemisphere is? This guy, these guys. Who are these guys? They talking cash shit, and they ain't gonna bust a damn grape. Sick of them. MAGA Mike is sick of them. Give me some real Americans in here.
Get ready for war with Venezuela. The Miami Herald reports that Donald Trump has initiated plans to attack Venezuela itself, the mainland, with the U.S. military.
I don't like his damn sweater. He need a flannel vest. I hate that damn cardigan. What is that, a cardigan? What does he do with that? Play tennis? Pickleball? We like to drive NASCAR, bitch!
Here's the latest from the Miami Herald. The Trump administration has made the decision to attack military installations inside Venezuela.
Look at this ugly sweater.
And the strikes could come at any moment as the U.S. prepares to initiate the next stage of its campaign against the cartels. We're going to war against Venezuela. told you this was going to happen. We know Trump has already put over 10,000 troops in the Caribbean, an unprecedented number. He's moved the...
And a $10 million bounty on Maduro's head. America, baby.
Kind of planes in the region, the fighter jets that we used for bombing the nuclear reactor in Iran. There's no reason to have them there unless we're planning some bombing campaign against a foreign state. He's going to war with Venezuela. He's going to try to topple the dictator there. Dictator there is a bad guy, Maduro. But Trump was elected to get us out of all wars. I didn't agree with him because I think we actually have a role in the world helping police things, but he doesn't. He claimed he was going to end them all, and this would now be the 9th or 10th war that Donald Trump has either threatened or gotten us into. Really?
He's starting a war just to end it so he can take credit for it. It's genius. It's a genius move. Just so we can say we did something.
Appropriate, but his supporters seem to like being lied to, so oh well, here comes another.
MAGA Mike loves being lied to.
I want to talk about what's happening in Venezuela and give some context from an actual Venezuelan. Maduro, bad. Trump, bad. Getting rid of Maduro, good. An American intervention into Venezuela, bad. Now you're going to see a lot of Venezuelans who seem to be in support of this American intervention, not because we're naive or because we don't understand what it could mean. Nobody wants to be bombed by the Yanks, okay? But that should give you an idea as just how desperate Venezuelans are. Maduro is not the legal president of Venezuela. He lost the 2024 election to Edmundo Gonzalez. That is an indisputable fact. But this isn't so much about the nitty-gritty of the politics as much as it is about the effects of those politics on the people. Imagine this. You wake up, there's no water, as usual. The lights have been out for about 10 hours. Your fridge starts to smell because the power keeps going out. So you're like, okay, I'm going to go out and buy some new food. You get there and the food is even more expensive than it was before. Food has gone up 21.9% in price since just last October.
Sounds like America, baby.
Actually, food prices have gone up 12,000% since 2009. So that's like a tomato being worth $1. Now that same tomato is worth $12,000. That's how crazy the food situation.
God damn, I would quit eating tomatoes. But anyway, I remember 25-cent gun was 25 cents. Now the shit like 50 cents. So I stuffed and went up 100% since I was a kid, 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, it was so expensive then, I used to steal it. But, yeah, strike that off the record. I never stole anything.
Situation is in Venezuela. These rolling blackouts, too, that I mentioned have a huge effect on the hospital systems. Often, you will be in the middle of surgery and the electricity goes off. So you have a country where you have very little access to food, and we know little access to food usually means a huge increase in crime. That has happened in Venezuela. You have
I don't believe it. It's a lot of big women out there in Venezuela. They be double fisting them chorros, double fisting them. All them big bitches out there. All right, nobody's missing a meal out there in Venezuela. But matter of fact, there's no passport bros in Venezuela because all the women are big. Okay. Come to America and get you a nice, beautiful, tender black woman. Okay, get you one of those. Get you one, especially from the South. Do something to do something. Shout out to my boy Lee Hall.
dangerous country. You don't have access to food, water, electricity, and your hospital systems have been terrible. On top of these brutal living conditions, you have this political violence hovering on top of you. If you speak out about what's happening, you are very likely to be disappeared into El Helicoide, which is the largest torture center in the Americas. In July of 2024 came Operation Tuntun. So basically, the government would come knocking on your door if you made any posts that were against the government. And if your neighbors outed you for being out protesting, you would be likely to be kidnapped and sent to this torture center. In just the month of July 2024, 1,900 political prisoners were taken. Those numbers have gone up to over 3,000, most of those being youth and most of those being underage girls. Since 2014, there has been Epstein
country.
19,888 politically motivated arrests in Venezuela. More than 8 million Venezuelans have fled the country. Our families are scattered across the world because we can't safely live home. And back in Venezuela, the regime allows mining that is tearing apart the Orinoco Delta, poisoning rivers with mercury and displacing indigenous people, allowing miners to go into indigenous territories, spreading diseases and kidnapping and human trafficking indigenous women. So when you see Venezuelans expressing support for an invasion, please understand, no one wants to be invaded, especially not by a country with such a brutal, violent global history. But Venezuelans are running out of options. Our hope is real. But underneath that hope is fear, exhaustion, and deep sadness for having to survive this horrific, violent, corrupt dictatorship. So please give us some space to feel all these emotions. Venezuelans aren't dumb. We are hardworking people who just want the best, like everyone else, to live a normal life.
Well, according to Donald Trump, y'all sending all y'all's rapists, drug dealers, and murderers to America. Y'all not sending y'all good, hard-working folk, and that's why he's sending them back. Okay? He's sending them back because he says they're not hard-working, they're drug dealers, rapists, and murderers. Okay? So either this woman has either she don't know her country or Donald Trump knows his country better than anybody because he knows grass, so he knows grass better than anybody else. Okay? Donald Trump knows it. So I don't know. If you listen to this lady, she's telling you the truth about her country. Donald Trump says they're drug dealers, rapists, and murderers. But we're hearing it from her. Pay attention. Malcolm Mike gonna give you the truth, even if you don't like it.
In Venezuela, gay marriage is banned. Abortion is banned. Sex changes for transgenderism are banned. It's one of the very few countries in the entire hemisphere with those policies. It is on social policy, not defending the regime, just saying, one of the most conservative countries in North or South or Central America. Only El Salvador really comes close. And by the way, the U.S.-backed opposition leader who would take Maduro's place if he were taken out is, of course, pretty eager to get gay marriage in Venezuela. So to those of you who thought this whole project was globo homo, not crazy, actually.
I don't know what that meant. But sounds, I don't know. I don't know what they got going on down there. I don't know what Donald Trump's whole motive is. I don't even know what this video was about. He didn't even give it. He just, I don't know what I don't even want to hear it again. It's so stupid.
You said time for Maduro to go.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like regime change. Are you talking about troops on the ground?
I'll let the president speak to that. I'm talking about a briefing that would expand military operations potentially from the sea to the land. It is time for Maduro to go. It was time for Ortega to go. The Monroe Doctrine has been robustly applied by President Trump. So these military assets are moving forward to deal with a country that's got blood on its hands when it comes to Americans by flooding our country with drugs from Venezuela and Colombia. So I hope Maduro would leave peacefully, but I don't think he's going to stay around much longer. I think President Trump is tired of Venezuela being used as a staging platform to poison America.
You said...
Sounds like across the board, we know what's about to happen in the coming few days. So, woo! Y'all ready to go to war? Well, let's go.
There are reports that you are considering strikes within Venezuela. Is that true?
No.
That you made a decision on that?
No, it's not true.
He said it's not true.
You said time for Maduro to go.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like regime
Yeah,
change.
it is.
Are you talking about troops on the ground?
I'll let the president speak to that. I'm talking about a briefing.
All right, he said he's going to let the president speak to us, so let's hear what the president got to say.
There are reports that you are considering strikes within Venezuela. Is that true?
No.
That you made a decision on that?
No, it's not true.
They lied to our damn face.
There are reports that you are considering strikes within Venezuela. Is that true?
No.
That you made a decision on that?
No, it's not.
You said time for Maduro to go.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like regime.
So I hope Maduro would leave peacefully, but I don't think he's going to stay around much longer. I think President Trump is tired of Venezuela being used as a staging platform.
Who is it? Somebody lying. This is Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican out of South Kakalaki. Hey, somebody lying to us. Who's lying? Donald Trump lying to us? Or is Lindsey Graham lying to us? You know, I don't like men with women names. Lindsay. Sounds like a cute blonde hair white girl. He's nothing like that. In fact, he's the opposite.
There are reports that you are.
Hey, Russia just sent the Wagner Group to Venezuela. The Wagner Group is like one of their best mercenary groups. This is the same group that tried to lead like a revolution back against Putin because they felt like their own boys were getting murdered by Russians in Ukraine. So the guy ended up leading a countercharge towards Moscow. His plane mysteriously, plummeted to the ground. But yeah, they just showed up in Venezuela. Hey, Marine. Я готов идти church, comrade. You ready? You ready for the Cold War to go hot, Marine? It ain't gonna be a Venezuelan shooting back. It's gonna be a Russian.
Hey. What is this guy, Russian? Who the fuck is this guy? He wants some of MAGA Mike? I think not. You gotta read my shirt. Get these girls that slanging big wood. Mike, you don't talk Russian to me.
If I was Maduro, I'd head to Russia or China right now.
Because?
His days are numbered. Something's going to happen. Whether it's internal or external, I think something's going to happen.
The firepower that's off the coast, right? This is an armada. This is a lot of U.S. forces. Are we about to invade Venezuela?
I don't think so. I mean, if we do, I'd be surprised.
Earlier this month, President Trump announced he approved covert CIA operations inside Venezuela.
What do you think removing Maduro would signal to other socialist regimes in the area?
It'll be the end of Cuba.
Cuba relies on subsidized Venezuelan oil to prop up its economy.
America is going to take care of the Southern Hemisphere, and we're going to make sure that there's freedom and democracy.
America got a hard on for oil. Bush Part 2. They got weapons of mass destruction down there in Venezuela. But this time we just saying it's the drug cartel.
So the TikTok deal. China has responded. They said they are willing to work with the U.S. on any TikTok-related issues, but no deal. There has been no TikTok deal. Stop making fake videos saying there's been a TikTok deal. Nope. 2 hours ago, October the 30th, it is now 8:23 in the morning. No TikTok deal. Shut up.
China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. China will never allow the United States to launch a war against China, conventional or nuclear, without suffering devastating consequences. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated, we call it 61, because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. I hope Washington has learned the lesson. If you want to have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. This is very...
Oh, thank you, Sona, for the 2 thumbs up. I appreciate it. Or the thumbs up. Mac and Mike loves thumbs up. Wait, no Diddy. I wasn't gonna say it.
Maturing is real.
But 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink for you.
Realizing that China technology is way more advanced than ours. And when they updating their technology and doing different things to their country, they involve the people too. Is it going to harm them? How is it going to help them? I seen a video on how they make their skyscrapers and doing constructions in the city. They put a whole dome around it to protect the people on the outside, the bystanders, from chemicals, dust, dirt, while also keeping their employees inside the dome warm, away from weather. And this way they can get their buildings and skyscrapers done more fast. While in the United States, we just do whatever shortcut we can take to be on top. That's what we do. We don't care about the people's health. We don't care about who is killing. And I admire China for that, for taking the right steps to be great and actually thinking and having a process to be great. And things like this, when you have countries like that, it ain't no war that can stop the mindset like that. When you destined to be great, you're going to be great. But yeah, that was just a thought that was on my mind. Like, we so far behind and it's not even funny. Maturing is...
Well, we know that the director of the FBI, Kash Patel, posted on X that the FBI had made a number of arrested multiple...
Kash Patel is not American.
Multiple subjects that he said were planning a violent attack in Michigan over the Halloween weekend, as he put it. And FBI Detroit has issued a statement saying that arrests were made in the cities of Dearborn and Inkster, which is just outside of Detroit. That's really all we know. And I can tell you from just my conversations and from reading the tea leaves here that this is a very strange situation where the FBI director is tweeting about a potential terror attack and then no information is forthcoming. This is not how it's supposed to work. And the sense I'm getting is that Patel may have tweeted before the FBI was ready to discuss this. Normally you would see a press release, you would see charging documents, things filed in court. We're not seeing any of that. And we really are waiting for the FBI to tell us exactly what is going on here. One thing that local authorities are saying is that there is no risk to the public at this time. So no risk to the public, but a potential terrorist attack wrapped up and multiple individuals arrested. Well,
Detroit, what up though? What the hell is going on out there? Y'all harboring terrorists? Okay, that's much worse than what Chicago is doing. Okay, Chicago is harboring Venezuelan gangs, and Detroit harboring terrorists. It's a whole terrorist organization in Detroit going on.
FBI Director Kash Patel putting on social media this morning that agents uncovered a potential terrorist attack for the Halloween weekend and multiple people had been arrested. And what we've learned about that from sources is that it's possible it was ISIS inspired. We've learned that there was some chatter in a chat room where an undercover FBI agent was present and became alarmed when the quote pumpkin day came up in those discussions. And that's why we've learned from officials that authorities moved in conducting several search warrants this morning. We know that a couple of people have been arrested, others are being questioned, but sources telling us they range from ages 16 to 20 years old. Now, what's unclear at this point is whether or not they had the capabilities of carrying out an attack or it was just aspirational, but more to come on that. One thing is clear is that officials on the local and federal level have said that there is no threat to the public.
Yeah, I want to see who these people is. I gotta see who it is. I mean, we got enough homegrown terrorists in this country. Chicago ain't harboring nothing. The goddamn Republicans dropped them off. Dropped off Venezuelan gangs. The people that was fleeing Venezuela were nothing but rapists, murderers, and criminals, according to Donald Trump. I know y'all not harboring them, but actually, y'all's Democrat governor gave them subsidies, free health care, $200 billion worth of health care came from y'all's Democrat governor.
The FBI says that it stopped a potential terror attack from occurring over Halloween weekend. According to Director Cashapp Patel, multiple people were arrested. However, no names or a motive have been released. Officials say the suspects have ties to Islamic State.
Damn, that ain't even the same house. Look at this house.
Officials say the suspect.
Is that the same house as the last one? I don't think so.
FBI Director Cashapp Patel putting on social media this morning that agents uncovered a potential about that from sources is that it's possible it was ISIS inspired. We've learned that there was some chatter in those discussions, and now.
Well, we know that the director of the FBI, Cashapp Patel, terror attack, and then no information.
Look at that house. All right. There's the house right there. So they had multiple houses.
The FBI says that it stopped a potential terror attack from occurring over Halloween weekend. According to Director Cashapp Patel, multiple people were arrested. However, no names or a motive have been released. Officials say the suspects have
that's a different house. These are two different houses.
Been released. Officials say the suspects have ties to Islamic State extremism. The FBI Detroit field office telling News Nation that searches were made Friday morning in the towns of Dearborn and Inkster. Federal officials were seen searching 2 homes in Dearborn. Director Patel saying in a statement, quote, through swift action and close coordination with our local partners, a potential act of terror was stopped before it could unfold. The vigilance of this FBI prevented what could have been a tragic attack. Local and state
I bet you they'll release those names before the Epstein files.
officials say that there is no imminent threat to the public, but they're urging everyone to stay vigilant this Halloween weekend.
The FBI tonight saying it thwarted a potential Halloween terror plot in Michigan, multiple arrests. The FBI says suspects had firearms training and that they had intercepted communications, including messages referring to Pumpkin Day. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, tonight.
In the early morning hours today, the FBI launching a series of raids in connection to what they feared was a deadly plot to commit mass murder on a Halloween weekend in Michigan. This video obtained by the TCD Dearborn News shows the tense moments as the FBI prepares to enter a home seeking evidence they believe was tied to the alleged plot, which a law enforcement source says may have been inspired by ISIS. FBI Director Cashapp Patel.
Bruh, how is the news there before the raids happen? Like somebody snitching.
Posting at 7:30 a.m. this morning, the FBI thwarted a potential terrorist attack and arrested multiple suspects in Michigan. Neighbors stunned and fearful with the news coming just hours before parents were to take their children out to trick-or-treat for Halloween.
This is very new and scary to me. It's like you're in a movie all of a sudden.
Sources telling ABC News for a number of months the FBI had been monitoring the communications of a number of suspected radicals using an online chat group. In recent weeks, those suspects had allegedly engaged in firearms training. And sources tell ABC News the decision was made to conduct raids after there was a reference to Pumpkin Day, which authorities feared meant Halloween. Those sources telling ABC News 2 suspects have been arrested, with 3 more being questioned, ranging in age from 16 to 20. David, although no charges were officially announced today, sources tell us they believe this was a potentially serious plot. But the FBI says the threat has been neutralized. So, David, it appears it's okay for kids in those communities to trick or treat.
Details on the FBI thwarting that terrorist attack in Michigan that was set to happen over the weekend, Halloween weekend. The FBI.
We're catching people before they ever start. Yep.
Details on the FBI.
Short and sweet.
We are following breaking news out of Dearborn. We've been at this home on Middle Point in the city for over an hour. FBI's
Reality is that this has been a stalemate for 30 days. And it's not just Democrats. You also have one of the most conservative Republican senators, Josh Hawley, who says, at least please move money around to feed people. Why not consider that?
Because if you deviate from the goal of reopening the entire government, Chuck Schumer and the radicals over there will continue to play games with people's paychecks, their livelihoods. And if you do just part of this, it will reduce the pressure for them to do all of it, to do their basic job, and that is reopen the government. This is very real and very serious, and they can end it today. They can do it right now. All they have to do is, we just need 5 more Democrats in the Senate to help us reach the 60-vote threshold. We don't have enough Republicans to do the right thing on our own. We need them to do the right thing.
Does it give? Reality is that
he said they won't move money around. So y'all just as guilty. I'm sick of Mike Johnson. He keep blaming the Democrats, and you in on this too. Like, figure it out. Move the money around. Cancel the loopholes. Okay. Schumer too. Y'all gotta. They not really negotiating. Donald Trump, the king of the art of the deal, need to go in there to negotiate. He done stopped 8 wars, but can't stop the war going on right here in our Congress. It's crazy. Absolutely insane. It makes me think about who's actually running this show.
Yep. Hey everybody, I'm here in Sunset Park outside the Chinese American Planning Council. It's a community organization that provides a lot of resources to the community, and what they've added recently is a food pantry because they've been having so many people who cannot make ends meet and are really worried about where the next meal is going to come from. Some of them telling us that they can't even sleep all the way through the night because they're so worried about that. Now this afternoon, some major developments in this whole SNAP saga. As everybody knows, or many of you know, tomorrow, November 1st, there's supposed to be the end of SNAP benefits due to the government shutdown. This afternoon, 2 federal judges ruled that the program must continue and that the Trump administration must continue funding SNAP continuously through that November 1st and use contingency and emergency funds despite the shutdown. Now, the catch is they gave the Trump administration until Monday to respond to their ruling. So we're following this very closely. We'll see what's going to happen. But they told the Trump administration, respond to this by Monday, but you've got the money, use it. We want these people to continue these SNAP.
So it is 11:22 p.m. here Central Time. So anybody on the East Coast, do you got your food stamps yet? Do you got your food stamps yet? Let me know, because Trump got till Monday to respond. So, you know.
And our country is doing well. The shutdown proceeds because the Democrats just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's wrong with them. They've never done a thing like this. They've become crazed lunatics. All they have to do is say, let's go, let's open up our country, and everything snaps back into shape. So there's something wrong with them. And
I guess we could just blame the Democrats.
I would also note a Politico headline from November of last year. Biden scrambles to emergency-proof U.S.-China ties. They said Trump wouldn't even dialogue with China. Oh, wait, he did. He's got the soybeans coming. He's got the oil and gas. This is only what we know so far. This is after 4 trade deals in Malaysia. This is after he goes to Japan, $550 billion investment worth 1/10 of their GDP. This is, by the way, after bombing Fordo, releasing the hostages. Conflicts resolved, 7 wars, 7 months. Cambodia, Kosovo, DRC, Pakistan, Israel, Egypt, Armenia. And then, of course, you have that beautiful deal in Gaza.
Greg, what'd you say about lists?
You know what? Compare that to Biden.
remember.
Compare that to Biden. This president is doing great.
This is why I love it when you bat cleanup.
I like being cleanup hitter.
Yeah, no.
She can. Yeah, I got that from my husband.
Are you saying women are good for cleanup? You are so sexist.
Up next,
HR.
Chicago.
I would also note a political.
Friend, pick up the phone. Now, I'm no rocket scientist, but this don't look like a friendly hug. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't look like grief. Usher Vance to the front of the stage, sis. This lady trying to take your man, okay? All of a sudden, she wants to be the second lady of the United States of embarrassment. Because if you if you think about it, Usher, you, and yes, I'm calling you Usher, okay? I don't want to learn how to pronounce your name correctly. You are Hindu, right? You still say you're Hindu, but you develop and follow these white national Christian values. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Erica's canoodling with your husband.
Canoodling.
Her husband, who she was deeply in love with. I mean, she's healed quicker than the Dollar Tree dictator's ear that one time. I'm just saying. Can't no me if you can't hug. This is meat to meat. This is a full frontal.
She got JD Vance Morning Wood.
You in danger, girl. Y'all have a good day.
One moment Charlie was doing what he loved, arguing and debating on campus, fighting for the gospel and truth in front of a big crowd. And then
those terrorists are faker than the liberal terrorists.
He blinked and saw his Savior in paradise. And all the heavenly mysteries were revealed to him.
I mean, she's beautiful. To really think about that, that he just blinked and then he was with the Lord. And it is just a fact that
MAGA Mike ain't really
Charlie just
a redneck.
loved the Lord. It was constantly, like I told you, going through the conversations and how much he would just say, I need to pray about it, I need to pray about it, I need to pray about it, wanting to marry Erica. First thing he said, which I think I showed you guys last week. And Erica's correct. It is important to remember that message of forgiveness that we have within ourselves, and it sometimes feels very hard to do that, but we are called upon to forgive people, to forgive our enemies, even in moments that it seems impossible or extraordinary to do so. But it is also important, it's not really a but I want to assert that it is also important to remember that what Christ is, as I said at the top of this show, is truth, right? Christ is truth, and we are not getting the truth right now of what happened to Charlie Kirk on 9/10. And to be very clear, I am going to need it. I demand it.
One moment.
The video has gone pretty viral. Pastor Rob McCoy's son, Mike McCoy, you're going to see what he does, not in the seconds following Charlie getting shot, but in less than 1 second. First, let's hear his daddy's version of the events.
And Mikey's the chief of staff. And I'm watching, the minute Charlie was shot, he called me, says, Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck. Please call every pastor and pray. He had blood all over him. And
What's rubbing me the wrong way is that he says Mikey had blood all over him, except Mikey did not have blood anywhere near him because Mikey was behind the tent when Charlie got shot. That seems pretty quick. Okay, I obviously went out to Mikey McCoy, no response. Weird. Because if that was me and I saw clips going viral, I'd say, here's my call log, but they have not. Everything about this is wrong. You know it, and I know it.
3 days before the shooting, someone in Israel searched W925S Street. That is a very specific search. And do you know what W925S Street is? It is where the gun was found.
Oh, shit.
Like, literally.
This might be the house, or maybe it was this one, where he walked by. Remember when Tyler Robinson was walking by and he was limping?
Tiny stretch of road from about here to about here, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 houses. And the gun was found right here. 3 days before the shooting, someone halfway around the world is searching for an address in this little town in Utah. I mean, it's not a little town. It's attached to Salt Lake City. But bitch, please. Come on.
That is very specific.
And then, on July 11th, in the District of Columbia, someone searched 683 W925S Street. That's a pretty specific location. 683 is this house. That's the chicken coop right there.
Was that the Ring camera house? Let's see. One sec. Remember when he was limping, chat?
Walking in the street, continuing to walk the street there, very close to where the venue was.
3 days before the shooting, someone in Israel, but just to clarify what we're seeing here, there are search trend data that is suspicious from before that Florida event. Like, for example, the Losi Center was searched in Israel on July 7th and July 9th. And that's a weird thing to search if you're in Israel.
Yep, that is very weird. And let's look this up real quick, what the Losi Center is. I think it might have been the building where he took the shots from. Interesting. Why is someone from Israel looking that up? It is a bit weird. In July, by the way, in July, it's one thing if they looked it up after the shooting. Totally plausible. They're researching the assassination, trying to figure out what the fuck happened. But to look this shit up randomly, I ain't gonna lie, bro, that's a little weird.
Actually, the landscaping company that redid the crime scene, they were searched on July 6th in District of Columbia, DC area, which is like maybe a coincidence. Maybe someone in the DC area had some business with them or something. Who knows? And there are other searches too.
Hey man, Charlie Kirk. He got too far. He got too far off. He got too far off. They pulled him in that back room. Said, "Hey, we giving you one more chance. Pull back. Pull back." All the donors started to leave. Oh yeah, he was out of there. But now that his Israeli wife, now that she running, show must go on.
Or that I didn't include a couple of them, not a ton, but they trail off into the beginning of July, and there's some in June. There might have been a few in May, but not many. And then the TPUSA Florida event, and then a bunch of them. And they're all...
and that's crazy.
But
we don't let that slide.
How do you feel about the investigation into Charlie's death? Can we have faith in it? Do you feel like it's being well handled?
So far, listen, so far so good. I think, I've had this conversation with a lot of the guys that have been, very involved from the beginning, and others that are a big part of that movement that are, are going to take, more of a role. Guys like JD, like, hey, he believes we have to keep this going. People, myself, hey, I did a lot of them, but I got to do even more. We got to keep this going. There's never going to be a replacement for Charlie Kirk. You can't plug that in. But if we can find 10 people that can do 10% of what he did, and they go all in and do that, we can keep that alive. And honestly, we all owe that to him to do it. And so, we're gonna make sure that happens. And again, maybe we're blessed to again one day find a generational talent like that can take over and step in. But I think he helped create and foment so many young people and bring them into the movement. If I haven't offended someone, I've actually accomplished nothing.
Yes, I failed.
Now, I'm a bit of a masochist when it comes to this crap, but
so just to round back, do you have confidence in the investigation? Should we have confidence in this FBI investigating?
I do, and I mean, I don't know. I don't like it when the people have the private, but I've spoken to everyone, around, and Erica, and I do have confidence. And, when I start seeing some of the other stuff, it's like, man. And by the way, just so we're clear, as you all probably know, if you're here, you probably follow me a little bit. Like, I'm about as conspiratorial as it gets within the realm of sanity for good cause, right? I think I was the guy that first said, like, the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is usually about 6 months. I was the guy canceled for pushing all of the obvious things that were conspiracy theories that, Wuhan or whatever it may be, lab virus leak. The problem is that there is a cottage industry of just clicks and people that are more than happy to profiteer, off of that. Again, I'm not saying that a lot of this stuff isn't real and isn't true, and I've been pushing all of that, but some of the stuff does get a little bit off the rails, and I think, you're really, it's...
He talking about Candace Owens in this one. Candace Owens ain't off the rail. She getting closer and closer. If she get too close, she gonna be out of here. She get too close, she gonna be out of here.
I'm seeing a lot of Republicans freak out over people dressing up as Charlie Kirk
for Halloween. The Libs of TikTok, huge MAGA account on Twitter, said, "This is the mainstream view on the left." Not true. And let me just start by saying, I don't think people should be doing this. I don't think it's funny. I think it's quite tasteless. But where were all of the Republicans for all the other offensive costumes? They will cry on social media about that. But I just covered a story the other day of this 33-year-old man in Georgia who dressed up like this and went to a college bar, got kicked out, and beat a woman on camera, breaking her nose. Got arrested for it. And many of the people in the comments who are MAGA defended him or said, it's just a costume, it's just Halloween, he's just having fun. No. You don't get to have it both ways. There were no Republicans who were upset when people were dressing up as George Floyd or a police officer kneeling on somebody's neck. No Republicans were upset about that, but now they cry foul. The real answer is that nobody should be dressing up as anything I just showed you or mentioned. That's the real answer. But Republicans can't claim, oh, it's just comedy, it's just a costume one time, and then freak out for another. I'm seeing a lot of Republicans.
She should be fired.
Some of y'all are sensitive. Empathy's stupid, or whatever he said.
Looks like it was her first time.
This is my favorite costume that my son picked. Can anybody guess who he is?
Donald Trump.
This is my favorite costume that my son picked. Can anybody guess who he is?
A lot of Halloween celebrations took place over the weekend, and it didn't fail for somebody to dress up as Charlie Kirk after he was assassinated. And this girl put her whole heart into it. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I don't understand how you find humor in dressing up as somebody who was publicly executed for practicing his First Amendment. And he would have wanted you to practice your First Amendment too, regardless of what your views are. This lady here goes by Amy the Project, and she took it upon herself to dress up as Charlie Kirk, assassinated, and go out to places like the gym
that she never goes to,
show off her costume. Anyway,
MAGA Mike does not approve of this Charlie Kirk costume. Okay? If you want a costume, dress up like that everyday PJ guy. He's a handsome fella.
homegirl can't take the heat because she did turn off her comments under all the videos. However, she went on to say this.
Some of y'all are sensitive. Empathy's stupid, or whatever he said.
Which is pretty ironic because that's not what Charlie Kirk said. This is what he said.
All about empathy and sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that it does a lot of damage, but it is very effective when it comes to politics. Sympathy I prefer more than empathy. That's a separate topic for a different time.
Anyways, this is your reminder that he didn't hate the LGBTQ plus community. Let me show you.
So I do not have hate for a group. I do not have hate for a people. I
So
hate
just so I can get it on my camera. So
Don't worry, we got plenty of cameras, but yeah.
But yes, so you do not hate the LGBT community.
No,
and Turning Point is not against LGBT.
No, how could I hate that which I have a heart for?
Thank you.
And I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make, but of course not. And if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. But if you ask me, what do I have hate in my heart for somebody that doesn't choose the lifestyle that I believe that God laid out in the scriptures? Of course not.
People have really lost compassion and sympathy. Because what in your right mind makes you think that you can do stuff like this?
MAGA Mike approves this message.
Jealous of the fiends, like why you always on the phone for?
Not only is it disrespectful, sad, but disgusting that you think it's okay to wear a Halloween costume of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Something is messed up with you. That's crazy behavior. That's all I'm gonna say, crazy. Not only is it disrespectful, sad, but disgusting that you think.
Call all of your pastor friends. Charlie was hit. We need everyone to pray right now. And that's what he told him. And I guess it's very disgusting for me as someone who witnessed this, who saw Mikey hugely distressed and then step up in the moment, because after that call was over, I saw Mikey like get total mastery of himself, that he realized he had to step up in this situation. And he, from that point, he was like a general directing a battle, where he was, grabbing people and saying, okay, we need to get to the hospital and we need to do these things. And you guys need to wait here. I need to get in here to get information so that I can get it to Erica. And
last thing, because this is part of the video allegations here, is that they think they're alleging that he was on the phone immediately. He was not. He was taking social videos, which he would send to our group chat, which we would then put on Charlie's social while the event was happening, so you could see like the crowd come in or his interactions. And we were only 2 questions into this event, so he was still getting it out to all the chats he needed to do, which he did at every event. He turns around, and it was so blaringly loud, I'm told. You would know this better than I, but this is what I'm told. It was so blaringly loud, and he was so shell-shocked. He put his fingers in his ear, but his phone was still in his hand. He walks away.
What Blake Neff doesn't seem to understand is that it's not necessarily the walking away that was the red flag. It was the immediate phone to ear that had people skeptical of Mikey McCoy. Andrew Colvette explaining that Mikey brought his hands to his ears and he didn't make a phone call. Okay, that's fine. Then verifying the call logs shouldn't be a problem, right? Also, what people do not like is his father, Rob McCoy, stating that Mikey had blood all over him. We know that this is obviously not true. In a case like this, inconsistencies and lying cause suspicion. Blake seems upset, and his feelings are hurt that Mikey would even be questioned like this. This can be cleared pretty easily with openness and proof of the call logs. We just want facts and truth. I wanted to verify what Blake said here, that he was right next to Mikey McCoy when all of this happened. You see Mikey circled right here. And this does look like Blake directly to Mikey's left or right with the beard. You can kind of see the bottom of his beard there right next to Mikey. Blake's reaction to the shot here looks authentic. He flinches, he sees what happens to Charlie, and then he runs for cover. You see Mikey McCoy, again, allegedly covering his ears there and then walking away. Look, none of us know how we would react when it's all on the line. And I'm only saying this because of the response from the Turning Point USA crew claiming Mikey to have acted heroically. That just seems inconsistent with reality, with what we're seeing with our very eyes. Covering your ears and walking away in the immediate aftermath of your close friend being shot, it's not heroic. Also, if Blake's first memory of seeing Mikey afterward was one where Mikey's lip was quivering, again, and I'm sorry, but that's not heroic. And the lies about him from his dad, he's covered in blood, he took control. It's like, why lie? It's the lies and inconsistencies, again, that are caught.
They really can't get their story straight. TPUSA producer Blake Neff appeared on the Charlie Kirk show. Blake says that right after Charlie was shot, he and Mikey McCoy both went past the SUV that they both came in on. Blake then claims that he runs for 15 or 20 seconds. He is ahead of Mikey McCoy, but eventually catches up with Mikey. And at that point, that is when Mikey calls Erica Kirk.
I remember even running past, both of us going past the SUV that we came in on, and me thinking, should I get in that car? And then thinking, no, that's a really stupid thing to do. And then I kept going. So I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him. I think I was ahead of him as we left. And then we get out, and I run for, can't have been more than 15 or 20 seconds. And then I realized there hasn't been another shot, so has likely been detained or stopped or something, not in immediate danger. I pause, I look around me, and I see Mikey. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but I think what he literally said was, he was looking around, and then he says, I need to call Erica. And then he takes his phone, and he begins calling Erica.
However, this timeline doesn't really seem to match the New York Times article, which stated that Erica Kirk received a call from Mikey McCoy at 11:23 a.m. local time. That is the exact same time that Charlie Kirk was shot. Blake says that he calls his mother, and then right after that, Mikey McCoy calls his father, Pastor Rob McCoy.
I remember he calls Erica. Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. Pray for me. I've got to go. And I remember that call. And around the time I put that phone away, and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Rob McCoy.
TPUSA spokesman Andrew Colvette claimed that Mikey McCoy was not on the phone at the same time of the shooting, and that he had his phone in his hand, and raised up and plugged both ears.
They're alleging that he was on the phone immediately. He was not. He was taking social videos, which he would send to our group chat, which we would then put on Charlie's social while the event was happening, so you could see like the crowd come in or his interactions. And we were only 2 questions into this event, so he was still getting it out to all the chats he needed to do, which he did at every event. He turns around, and it was so blaringly loud, I'm told. You would know this better than I, but this is what I'm told. It was so blaringly loud, and he was so shell-shocked, he put his fingers in his ear, but his phone was still in his hand.
However, video footage shows Mikey McCoy clearly on his phone within 5 seconds after the shoot. So if Blake claims that they ran for 15 to 20 seconds, they had to funnel out of there, all of this action had to occur before Mikey McCoy called Erica Kirk, before Mikey McCoy called his father, Pastor Rob McCoy, who was Mikey McCoy talking to at the moment that Charlie Kirk got shot?
The Israelis. He was talking to the damn Israelis.
What I want you guys to know about Charlie is he also used to dream very vividly. Because we traveled together so much, he would wake up, we would text.
He was Martin Luther King. He had a dream.
And he would tell me about those vivid dreams. And we talked about a lot of things, as you do when you get to know somebody. We talked about the spiritual realm. We talked about religion, our faith. Most importantly, what our life's purpose was. And there was this period in April where Charlie kept insisting to me over and over again that he was going to die young. In fact, he told me that Turning Point USA was going to be the death of him. I'm going to show you some of those messages now, a particular set of messages that were written on April 6th, 2018, just a couple of weeks before Kanye tweeted, "I love the way Candace Owens thinks," which is relevant because a lot of things changed after that tweet. And it's relevant because Charlie sensed that something big was about to happen. And I think that is what the something big was. We were again talking about Kanye. Charlie wrote to me, "You're going to be the Iron Lady of America." He had such a political vision for me. I never wanted that sort of a thing. I see it so freaking clearly. I might be Moses, though. I might not see this whole thing through. LMAO. If that is the case, be my David. I said, "Dude, you haven't even realized your power yet. You're so young," is what I was thinking. He said, "If I tell you the true prophecy that I know in my gut, it's really sad, but I hope it's wrong." He went on to say, "Anyway, I am not sure if I will live to see the end of this revolution. I believe you were the piece that God meant me to meet that will finish the fight. Since the beginning of TPUSA, I knew in my gut that I might get wiped out at any time. I cannot explain it, but I dream about it all the time, like all the time. Anyway, that's depressing combo for another time, LMAO. I said, "That's weird, more of a fear manifestation than an actualization." He said, "I'm not really afraid of it, but I'm just telling you what I know to be true." And he told me that. He told me that. I don't know why. Charlie knew he was going to die young. And I don't know. I just felt like I needed to.
That's like the Tupac prophecy. All that talk about death, it come knocking. It come knocking. Death comes a knocking.
Share that because it is in part why the moment that Charlie got shot, I just knew he was betrayed spiritually. In the same way that Charlie knew that he was going to die young, I knew that this was a part of something bigger. And so I wanted to say to you guys, to the people that betrayed Charlie, I would recommend that you come clean, okay? I would recommend that you come clean because Charlie said some other things, and I look at these things now and I think, wow, it's almost prophetic, right? It's almost prophecy, and I can tell you that this is a story that will have a happy ending, a tragedy that will have a happy ending. The world is going to learn the truth about this. They are.
Charlie was pissing people off. Charlie was pissing people off, man.
I believe, and I'm saying this retrospectively, that from that moment onward, Charlie and I were assigned handlers. Okay, this is an expression that Kanye used to say, "have a handler." I thought that he was just saying that. I thought that he was referring to just Hollywood. I now very much believe that I have had handlers since 2018, and that things were done intentionally to pull me and Charlie apart. Now, I'm going to tell you how I remember it in no particular order, okay? I tweeted back at Kanye and I said, "Please take a meeting with us." And before I could hear directly from Kanye's people, I heard from David Horowitz. You should also know that he is the father to Andreessen Horowitz, the one that Bibi Netanyahu is insisting should, or stepfather to, he wants Andreessen Horowitz to be a part of this group that buys TikTok.
TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential.
At the time, Charlie and I, we were pro-Israel. That's, I think, kind of relevant. And we were just so amazed by the tweet that we thought all of these people, like this was just our moment, as in they really did just want to help. Another player in this was Rick Rubin. Yeah, the big music industry, Rick Rubin, also got into the mix and wanted to facilitate certain meetings. I took it, again, as a sign of help. And it feels like at every moment there were forces that were trying to tell us this is not allowed to happen. Someone, and I believe it was someone at BuzzFeed, cut a clip. Again, I was green, so I didn't understand why suddenly they were sharing a clip and they were saying that I was justifying Hitler, Adolf Hitler, killing Jews. It was heavy. It was so heavy. And I laugh in retrospect because I thought it was all real. I didn't realize this was a matrix of people who wanted to pull me and Charlie apart. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to put pressure on him. And this amazing thing happened that despite this, that the hand that came out to me and offered me a job was PragerU. PragerU offered me a job. This is early 2019. And it was like, hey, like, we know that you don't believe these things. And at the time, I thought they were just being friends. I don't know what to think anymore. Marissa Straight, the CEO, has never shied from telling people that she is, in the IDF. She worked intelligence in the IDF, right, in Israel. Almost the way it feels to me was like, we can save you, but here's what you have to do, was Marissa took me to the Simon Wiesenthal Center. And again, I was so grateful. I was like, who do I have to say sorry to so that they know that I don't hate Jews? This is what happened. I'm telling you, this is what happened in 2019. And there was like some chief rabbi looking character, and him and her spoke in Hebrew. I didn't understand a word of what was said in front of me. And then we left and everything was fine. My reputation was restored temporarily. I believe, and I'm saying this retrospectively.
Y'all believe Candace? Man, it's not just rhetoric. It's not just talk. This girl knows the no. But only thing is, she gonna get too close to the fire. And it's gonna burn. It's gonna burn. Look, I never heard Charlie Kirk speak. Actually, fun fact. Like the day before the Charlie Kirk assassination, I seen one of his videos and I was like, oh, he tripping. He tripping. Next day, gone. I was like, wow. I just seen his video and now he gone. That's what made me start talking about him. It was like a sign from God. Like the same ones Charlie Kirk get, I got.
All right, you guys. Well, if Halloween is your thing, then I definitively have a scary story for you. And it's scary because it's not fiction. Okay, this is real life. The assassination of my friend Charlie Kirk. We are now, I believe, extremely close to solving this thing. I think after this episode, you are going to recognize that there is just irrefutable proof that there were, in fact, foreign actors involved. And of course, that implies that our government knows. Our government absolutely knows. We already felt that way. So let's jump right back into this impromptu episode. Welcome back to Candace and Charlie Kirk. We are now, I believe, extremely close to solving this thing. I think after this episode, you are going to recognize that there is just irrefutable proof that there were, in fact, foreign actors involved. And of course, that implies that our government knows. Our government absolutely knows. We already felt that way. So let's jump right back. Okay, I want to preface this by letting you guys know that I am positively exhausted. I have been up all night, realizing what we were suddenly on the brink of, stumbled into it. I wouldn't even say accidentally, obviously. This has been my obsession since we all watched Charlie Kirk be executed in front of the world. And then a lot of people lie about it, and a lot of people who were not acting right or grieving right, who were his closest comrades and business partners. And let's be frank, as I get inch closer and closer to discovering the truth, we should recognize that this is pretty dangerous stuff. And my theory now, I feel confident stating that Charlie Kirk was taken out by something much bigger than Turning Point USA organization that he was running. and certainly much bigger than Tyler Robinson on the Low C rooftop, who I don't even think was even stepped foot on the campus that day. And I think another thing that I should mention is just how positively sad it is. We can reflect on how sad it is already. Okay, that Charlie's actually still alive, right? And it's not sad because those people are crazy. They're actually reacting to the lack of emotion and the lack of drive that is coming out of Turning Point USA to figure out who killed him. That's what they're reacting to. So like they came to, okay, this is so unnatural, the reaction of these individuals.
All right, now she's crazy. She's saying Charlie Kirk is still alive.
Who were so close to him, that the more logical, sensible conclusion is that they actually know where Charlie is and he's perfectly alive. Yeah, that is how absurd they are acting. Just move on. Just donate to Turning Point USA. This is what Charlie would want. And that's his legacy. So what happened? Why are we here? Why are we live on Friday? I gave up Fridays, but this is so relevant to what's happening. And I wanted to get this information out so that everyone in the world who has been helping me investigate could have the weekend to do research and we can information share. The answer to the centralized intelligence agency, as we have said, is the decentralized intelligence agency. We must decentralize ourselves to plug out of this utterly demonic system. Anyway, what happened yesterday was, obviously I did the show and I circled back to the Egyptian military plane. I had simply tweeted about it while I was in Wyoming, obviously recognizing that it was not normal that this Egyptian military plane had departed on the morning of Charlie's assassination. Now, I made the mistake of thinking it had departed in the afternoon, and the reaction to it, this is how you always know the give, is they overreact to something and then the military bots make it a trending story. Like, there's no way this was trending, this guy correcting me on the timing. And he tweets it, and the next thing you know, it's trending. Egyptian plane debunked. It was not debunked. I showed you that yesterday, okay? Thanks to a very brave person, a foreigner actually, who informed me that the people who came in on that plane were not the people that went out on that plane. So where did they go? They were estimating like approximately 18 people were on the plane that came over and far less were on the way back. Where did these people go? Well, let me tell you something. As you know, because I am relying on you guys for tips, I'm grateful that I have a platform, but I don't exist without you guys. I'm always checking the comments to see if I got something wrong, if I made a mistake, if there's something that I missed. And somebody I just happened to catch gave a live comment right after the show. I was looking at your comments. Yesterday was, obviously I did the show, and he said, oh, Candace, that plane we covered, the tail number SUBTT, just so you know, like a year earlier, that plane was in Utah at the same time as Charlie Kirk. In 2024, I was like, oh, that's pretty ironic if that's true. I was like, it's probably not true. Except it actually was true. So I started last night and I said, okay, maybe that was a coincidence. Let me actually, since I presented that timeline for you every time I came to America, see if it was always near Charlie Kirk, if it was always near some big Turning Point event, if something was going on with Turning Point. And the answer, you guys, if you thought once was maybe, twice was a coincidence, 3 times we have a conspiracy, we're at about every single time that we could go back on this plane, and we're not done, obviously. There was something happening at Turning Point USA that was neighboring, okay, in the same city. So I'm going to take you through this timeline. This is so shocking to me, and I've color coordinated this timeline. I'm sure there are going to be some errors. Pick them up, Zionists. Go hard. Make it trend. For the rest of us, let me know if there's slight adjustments that need to be made. But I think we've done a pretty thorough job. So I'm going to let you know what you are looking at, okay?
Well, it looks like Candace is getting closer to the fire. I'm actually interested in watching what Candace has to say. I'm like I said, I'm tapped into what Candace puts on social media and what her dedicated followers put on social media. You know, this now. Who cares? Well, it's not that we don't. Ooh, that's bright in here. It's not that we don't care about Charlie Kirk and his rhetoric, But the truth shall be uncovered. And that just goes to show when you have a powerful voice, when you have a powerful voice and you have a powerful following, but you're backed by people with higher powers, it could get sticky. It could definitely get sticky, and that's exactly what happened with Charlie Kirk. And unfortunately, he had to suffer dire consequences. And people, I tell you, if I ever get close to that fire, I'm going to feel the heat and I'm backing the fuck off. I'm backing off. Okay? Everyday people, thank you all for watching. This was a long one. I'm tired. You tired. Thank you, mods, for pulling up. Thank you, mods. Thank you to the everyday people who be pulling up. Thanks to all the new people, the old people. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe as y'all come in and leave. You know, share this out to your family and friends. And tell them we got MAGA Mike on Halloween. See, I went all out for MAGA Mike. I'm not doing that again, though. I mean, maybe another time. Maybe I'll pull out the flannel and the wig again. But I thought it was appropriate for Halloween because, I mean, you know, it wasn't as inappropriate as a Nazi costume or a Charlie Kirk assassination costume. That was pretty freaking horrible. I wouldn't recommend anybody do either one of those. But, you know, I hope everybody had a safe night, took all their kids out and did some, you know, spend some time with your kids. Now go lay with your wife, kiss her good night. JD Vance is going to go lay with Erica Kirk and leaving his wife at home alone with their 2 children to now be food, so she can be a baby mama and now receive food stamps. Okay. Now, tomorrow we're going to talk about, I don't know. I got a lot of shit going on tomorrow, so we're going to see what we're going to talk about. But anywho, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And, hey, we're going to stay lit, big dog. Holla at y'all later. Peace. By the way, this is non-alcoholic. It has alcohol-free brew. Y'all thought I was getting toasty. I be lying to y'all. I be lying to y'all. MAGA Mike doesn't drink. Although I do like to taste the beer. Y'all have a good night.